Scams targeting the elderly? Huh? That's just awful. I sighed as I watched the morning news before heading to work. What's got you sighing? My mother-in-law Kate handed me a cup of coffee with a smile. Well, it's hard not to sigh when you hear about stuff like this. The TV was covering malicious door-to-door sales and grandparent scams targeting seniors. I've heard rumors that these scams are on the rise around here, so it's hard not to worry. Oh, are you worried about me? I'm only 68, you know, and I'm pretty sharp. It's great that you feel young. But Mom, you're so laid back. It's a bit concerning. Kate let out a reluctant, well, at my husband's joke. Another peaceful day in our home. I took a sip of my coffee with a wry smile. My name is Ellie. I'm 28. I've been married for 3 years. We moved in with my in-laws, Kate included, after my father-in-law passed away 2 years ago. I currently work at a part-time job at a local supermarket. I'm worried about leaving Mom alone in the house. Would you consider moving in with us, please? I was hesitant when my husband first asked me to move in, especially since I didn't know Kate very well at the time. But living with her has been great. She's kind and treats me like her own daughter. Plus, she's been a huge help around the house, which has been a lifesaver. We spend our time after work and on days off cooking together, and I've learned some cleaning tips from her. I've come to really love Kate. One day while working my usual part-time job, I started to feel unwell. I felt sluggish, maybe a bit feverish. My manager noticed and said, Ellie, you look pale. You can leave early today if you need to. Are you okay? I wonder if I caught a cold. Feeling guilty, I decided to take her up on the offer. I pushed my bike along as I headed home. Kate will be surprised to see me home at this hour. If I tell her I left work early because I'm not feeling well, she'll worry. I can easily imagine Kate fussing over me. She's a really kind person. A bit naive and overly trusting, but that's what makes her endearing. Huh? Do we have a guest? I tilted my head at the unfamiliar car parked in front of our house. If there's a guest, I'll enter quietly. I opened the front door and froze. There was a handsome man in a suit, chatting and laughing with Kate. Spread out in front of them were pamphlets and some mysterious equipment. The news from this morning flashed through my mind. The man stood up and offered me a business card with a bright smile. His name and company were printed on it, but there was no address or phone number. As I examined the card, Kate filled me in. He's apparently a sales rep from a kitchen appliance company, offering free equipment checks in the area. Is this one of those inspection scams? Kate initially told him to leave, but she must have been swayed by his pitch, and that's when I came home. We don't need any services for our kitchen appliances, so please leave, I told the sales rep firmly. For a moment, his eyes narrowed, but then he flashed a bright smile, showing his white teeth. Ha ha ha! Your granddaughter sure is responsible. You must feel relieved, right? The salesman smoothly deflected my words and spoke to Kate. She's not my granddaughter. She's my daughter-in-law. Perhaps charmed by the salesman's good looks, Kate's voice seemed brighter than usual. Ah, my mistake. It's nice to have someone who worries about you. Some salespeople won't leave until you buy something, you know. It's a dangerous world out there, so your concern is valid. Now, let me show you our state-of-the-art equipment for checking your kitchen appliances. Switching between a deliberately scary tone and a cheerful one, the salesman kept talking non-stop. As he suddenly implied that he wasn't a scammer and tried to transition to the check, I interrupted. We said we don't need a check, right? Kate tried to calm me down. Ellie, I'll make some coffee. Could you bring the pot? It's a free check, so why not? Before I could object, Kate insisted. Please. I made it clear that the salesman should not enter the house. You can do the check at the entrance, right? I'll bring the pot, so please wait here. Feeling uneasy about the ever-smiling salesman, I went to get the pot. I took the opportunity to call my husband, but he didn't answer, probably because he was at work. So I sent him a message. Left work early due to feeling unwell and found a suspicious salesman at the door. He won't leave even though I've asked him to. Simply type and send. I felt relieved when I saw that he had read the message. As I was fiddling with my phone, Kate peeked into the room. "I'll help you carry the pot." I instinctively hid my phone behind my back. "Kate, let's just ask the salesman to leave." I mustered the courage to speak, but Kate just laughed it off. Feeling frustrated, I carried the pot to the entrance as Kate had asked. The salesman was leisurely sipping the coffee Kate had made.
"Let's proceed with the check."
He took out his equipment and began checking the pot. After a moment, he said,
"This won't do."
"Is our pot really that bad?" Kate sounded concerned. The salesman shook his head sadly.
"This pot contains harmful substances. You could get sick using it."
"That can't be." Before I could finish, the salesman smirked.
"Many cheap pots are like this. You might have kids someday. You can't use this kind of pot for your family. It's concerning."
His exaggerated, sad expression and biased words confused Kate. He's using our family's health to manipulate us. I frowned in anger, but he continued.
"Don't worry. Our new pots eliminate these concerns. They're made with the latest technology, so you can cook delicious and healthy meals."
He smoothly opened a pamphlet without letting me interrupt. He pointed at a certain product and held it up as if to signal a final blow.
"For example, this usually costs $11,000 each. But if you buy two now, it's $7,000 each. What a deal!"
"What?" Kate and I exclaimed in disbelief. $14,000 for 2 pots? This is going south fast. I forcefully interrupted him. "Thank you for the explanation, but we won't be buying anything. The check is done, so please leave." For a moment, our eyes met, and a chill ran down my spine. His eyes felt eerily cold, despite his smiling face. I've heard of salespeople becoming aggressive when they can't make a sale. There's still no reply from my husband. I have to find an opening to call the police. Just as I was thinking this, Kate spoke up with a smile. "It's a really good product. I'll buy 2. Please come in." "Kate, I disagree. And if we spend that much money, my husband will be furious with me." I knew that Kate had a safe in her room with some cash in it. I hoped she would reconsider when I mentioned her son, but she said, "You can't put a price on family health. Besides, he approached me with this offer, so it's my decision to make." I was at a loss for words at Kate's seriousness.
"In that case, I'll have exactly 2 items in my car. I'll go get them."
The salesman happily left through the front door. When he returned, he showed us the pots. They looked fancy, but seemed no different from regular pots. Reading my thoughts, the salesman said,
"It may look like an ordinary pot, but it's made with a special process. It cooks faster and contains no harmful substances."
Kate was nodding as she touched the pot. "I see."
"Here's the contract."
He handed the contract to Kate, assuming she had already decided to buy.
"Just sign here. You can read the rest after I leave."
He was so casual about the contract after being so enthusiastic about the product. Wait a minute. Reading the contract after you leave is absurd. And is there a cooling off period? The salesman smirked, as if mocking us.
"Do you really want to hinder a decision made for your family's health?"
He didn't answer my question. I should have researched the cooling off period more thoroughly. Oh, already. If this is the case, I should have looked into it. It's a system I've heard a lot about, but I realized that it's meaningless if I don't properly understand it. Maybe I should really report this. There's still no word from my husband, and even if Kate gets mad at me, I have no other choice. As I was thinking this, Kate spoke. "It's funny. I never said I decided to buy. I said I'd buy it if it's really good. Her usual smile was gone, and she was staring sharply at the salesman.
What?
The salesman was stunned. Kate, I thought you were all set to buy. Ah! Kate laughed her usual laugh. Then she turned to the salesman. Who do you think I am? My family has run a pawn shop in this town for generations. I worked there for a while, even after I got married. I developed an eye for quality. People around here know I'm a good appraiser, but this pot doesn't even need an appraisal. She pushed the pot towards the salesman. This pot is barely worth $100. I bet everyone who bought this was fooled by your looks and smooth talk. I had heard that Kate's family owned a pawn shop in town, but I couldn't imagine her as an appraiser, given her usual gentle demeanor. I was recalling vague memories. Kate continued. I heard rumors about handsome, unscrupulous salesmen selling pots around here. I thought it might be you. The salesman angrily interrupted.
What are you saying? Are you calling me a scammer?
He was furious, and I instinctively moved to shield Kate. Just then, the front door opened.
I'm home.
My husband appeared in the living room.
I got off work early today. Is this the kitchenware salesman?
I nodded, and the salesman awkwardly handed my husband his business card.
Here you go. What's this? Your business card only has the company name and your name. Shouldn't it also have the company's address and contact information? How can we get in touch if there's an issue with the purchase?
My husband's question was met with a vague nod from the salesman. His earlier confidence seemed to have vanished. He claims our current pots could be harmful and make us sick. That's why he started pushing these $7,000 pots on Kate. My husband shot the salesman a stern look. The salesman's smile tightened and sweat appeared on his forehead. He dodged the question about a cooling-off period and tried to get us to sign the contract without reading it. It's all very suspicious. This has to be a scam. As I laid out my concerns, the salesman interrupted.
Fine. Since you're not buying, I'll take my leave.
He stood up, leaving the spread-out contract, brochures, and even the pots, and bolted for the door. Wait! I shouted, but my husband reassured me with a smile.
What's going on here?
We heard the salesman's panicked voice from a distance. As we approached the door, we saw police officers blocking his way.
I consulted the police when I left work. They met up with me and came here. I wasn't sure if it was a scam when I got Ellie's message, but if he won't leave when asked, that's a problem, especially with recent scam rumors.
I nodded, understanding the situation. I later learned that it's crucial to explicitly ask someone to leave. If they don't, it becomes a criminal offense.
I was just offering a free pot check. Then I recommended our product out of goodwill, and nobody told me to leave.
The man shouted as he was restrained by the police.
Is that your car parked outside? The make and license plate match the information from victims. Let's talk at the station.
One of the officers said, and the salesman's shoulders slumped in defeat. I handed over the business card, contract, and pots as evidence, along with the recorded conversation on my phone.
Damn, I thought I could easily scam some naive seniors and timid women.
The salesman raised his voice as he was pushed into the patrol car. I'm sure I'll stare at the dealer. Don't you have loved ones? They'd be heartbroken. Exploiting people's fears to sell overpriced items is shameful. He clenched his lips and looked down. I'm sure he has someone important to him, but it's his fault. The police took him away. Kate had also heard rumors about scams in the area. When the man claimed to be a salesman, she suspected him. I came home while she was considering contacting the police. And that's how we got here. My husband sighs.
Mom could have been in danger, and who knows what could have happened to Ellie.
I smiled to comfort the regretful Kate. But we're safe, and that's what matters. I was really worried. I'm sorry for making you worry. Kate apologized. I felt relieved and suddenly sat down exhausted. I had left my part-time job early due to feeling unwell. Supported by my husband, I stood up and we all laughed together. A few weeks later, we learned from the police that the man was indeed the scam artist rumored in the area. He had successfully scammed several households, so he should face appropriate punishment. Also, I found out I was pregnant. The day the unscrupulous dealer came to my house, I felt that my physical condition had changed, which was apparently an early symptom of pregnancy. The family health the scam artist mentioned was indeed important, but exploiting that concern is unforgivable. In a world filled with all sorts of people, we'll teach our unborn child to live strongly without losing oneself.